Hello and welcome to the Back Pocket and Destiny 2 Witch Queen ANZ Primetime Not Quite Live Reaction Party sponsored by Bungie. I'm Nick Richardson, the Lance Reddick of the Back Pocket crew, and I'm probably very expensive, but the best investment they've ever made. I'm joined by my favourite guardians in the entire galaxy, the Drang Lord Peter Burns.
Quitchapow!
Master of the Hunter Jump, amateur of the Hunter Jump Landing, Stephanie Bendixson.
This is my ghost. Hi.
And Angus Ronald.
Guardian down.
Very good. Very good.
Tonight we are going to be watching the Destiny 2 Witch Queen showcase that aired this morning at a very inconvenient time for anyone in the ANZ region. Then afterwards, we're going to be breaking down what we saw, what it means for Destiny going forward, theorizing on some lore implications. We'll be chatting to 2 Destiny developers, and we can even have some stuff to give away. So we're going to give away some stuff. We're going to talk to some people who made the game. We're going to theorize on things that are probably entirely wrong. And we should have just asked the people who made the game what they thought about it, but we didn't. A big thank you to Bungie for helping make the Back Pocket and Destiny 2 Witch Queen ANZ Primetime Not Quite Live Reaction Party sponsored by Bungie possible. And of course, Bungie would not have had a Not Quite Live Reaction Party sponsored by Bungie to sponsor if it had not been for the continued undying and I would say intimidatingly dedicated support of the Pocketeers over at patreon.com/backpocket. So tonight, before we get into the show and some general chatter, as I mentioned, we are going to be giving away 8 exclusive legendary emblems that you cannot earn in-game. No matter how much Destiny you play, you can't unlock one of these. These are the hen's teeth of Destiny 2 emblems. They're rarer than Prophetic Visionary, but you don't need to complete the Prophecy Dungeon without dying to get this one. You just need to not die while watching this stream, which I've
already redeemed mine.
But I sincerely hope that all of you do make it through this stream without dying. Welcome, my friends. Are we excited for this one? Steph, I want to start with you. You're dressed for the occasion.
If you could just give me a moment, I would like to do a small fashion show.
Please.
Peter, cue the music.
You've only got the horror music from the start of the stream.
The Destiny music is like, wow. And it's like, oh, nice.
My raid jacket arrived. This is the Deepstone Crypt raid jacket.
Very nice.
It's so cool and I love it. It's got all of the
trim
stuff on it, symbols and stuff from the raid. Oh,
it's groovy as. Not
really supposed to be one with headphones. But yeah, it's great. And then it has like an inner part that you can like take out for like when it's not as cold as the Deepstone Crypt.
It's got an inner layer.
Yeah,
like
it has like an inner layer that I've already removed because I don't need the whole thing.
Fashionable and functional.
Yeah. Then I have my Destiny 2 Christmas jumper.
Very good.
And then I have my Destiny 2 Beyond Light
Christmas shoes.
Boots.
Hey.
I'm so jealous of those boots.
Oh man, they
so jealous of those boots.
Aren't they cool? Aren't they cool?
Steph, that will always be a rift between us that you managed to get your hands on those boots because you know how much I love those boots. They'll never be mine. Peter, you have a weapon?
I do. I have Drang. I don't know if you guys have heard me talk about this gun before. It's not a little known fact. It is very well known that this is the most powerful weapon in the game. And to have my hands on one is quite an exciting thing. It's got its own little magazine as well that pops out so that I can reload and be ready for action nice and quickly.
I love
the politest explanation of a deadly weapon.
He loves that gun so much. I don't know why. It's this weird, small, little like sidearm, but he always.
What do you mean
uses
you don't know what this is? Like, look at this design. I know there's a lot of amazing design in Destiny, and like you're a Fallen fan through and through, and you know all sorts of great stuff. But this is just. Nothing quite tops it.
I remember we were doing the Garden of Salvation raid together, and that's a particularly beautiful raid that has some really sweeping vistas. I mean, there's a lot of stunning sweeping vistas in Destiny 2, but Garden of Salvation is like up there with the top. And I was like, Peter, I want to get a screenshot. And he was like, all right. So we sort of stood next to each other and we got this beautiful screenshot looking out over the landscape. And I showed it to him and I was like, isn't this a cute photo of us? And he looks at it and he goes, Drang. It was
They're just sitting on my back because I have my primary equip.
No, you had it in your hand. It was like in the foreground of the shot. Yeah.
It's cuter on the back. It's cuter on the back in the tower.
Good.
Okay, I think that's enough Drang love for the. I'm going to say for the rest of the year. Saltiest Pretzel wants to know, what did Gus bring for show and tell?
Ooh, I brought an engram.
Get yourself an engram.
But then it's ready. It's a.
Too bright?
No, well, I was going to say too bright. But then, like, it's one of the rare engrams that can change its rarity, I think, just by tapping it. So it's that is quite bright, but it's
that's blue, right?
Hang on. Oh, it's just changed.
Now it's blue.
Now it's what? Now it's rare? And then it's
looking at it.
Now it's you look at it. Use your eyes, mate.
Umbral.
Or Umbral.
It's prime. Yep.
That's
yellow again.
Exotic. Yeah, we're exotic.
Exotic. There we go.
Yeah, you want that one.
Yeah.
We're back to white or bright. Oh no, it's just changing everything. But there you go.
Yeah, now it's a crazy colored one.
All right, good. Excellent. Well, now we've got all that unpleasantness out of the way. Thank you very much, everyone, for hanging out this evening and watching this. We spoke to Bungie about doing this because no one wanted to get up at 1:30 or 2 o'clock in the morning whenever this thing actually aired. For Europe and America, sure, that's something those crazy cats do over there. But here, down...
And
on this island?
Oh yeah, and Avexia. Avexia probably got up here. But down here on Criminal Island, we watch things at 7 p.m. AEST or potentially 7:06, which is what it is now that I look at my clock right now. We are going to watch the entire thing and then we'll just live react to it and then go afterwards. Now I want to check. We haven't seen this, right? Like I have prepared some. We've prepared some stuff for later, but we don't actually know what any of it means. No,
we spoke to the Bungie devs earlier today, and so we had to do a bit of preliminary research. And so it was like I was spoiling it for myself. But Steph and I both managed to ignore, not see any of the Witch Queen reveal. Which
Peter sent me the link to the thing just from the season
time code included.
The time code, of the season content. So everything before that, which is most of the presentation, I haven't seen, and I'm very excited because people have been talking about it like.
I at least saw a meme or two around it, so I'd like to have that like fleshed out once I actually see the trailer itself. But I saw a couple of funny pictures. I'm like, that makes no sense so far. So I look forward to
the whole point of this entire stream is we're trying to get Gus back into Destiny 2 by the end of the stream. So we'll see if it accomplishes its goal. All right, let's jump into it. Peter, if you can kick it off, I think we've got to get this underway.
Let's do it.
Oh, 10!
10 what? I feel like I know we're starting. I have got back into it like in the last week, so this is my like jumping off point.
Guardians, job done.
This year we're celebrating our journey with you. Whether you joined us 30 years ago,
here they are,
or if it just started today.
That was me. I started today.
The Destiny team is full of Destiny fans. Folks who came here because Destiny was their favorite hobby. Folks who log out from work in the evening and log in to play with their clan.
The team we have today is committed to relentlessly upgrading this game that we all love. We aren't happy with just another mission. Instead, we want to push the limit of quality you can expect in an action MMO with uniquely Destiny experiences like Expunge and Massage. We're committed to delivering the best mission content that you can play in any game with a friend and having the best feeling action game, period.
And this shows through in the passion that we see for Destiny 2. Since we declared independence 2 years ago, the Destiny community has grown by over 20 million new players. And it continues to grow faster than we ever could have predicted. To be a part of this amazing growing community that you all have created. You represent Destiny. You help make it better every year, and you are so welcoming and supportive of every new Guardian that sets foot in the tower.
And only a handful of us are going to be up here today. Most of them are in their homes, at their desks, working hard to bring the next part of Destiny to life. It's a huge honor representing such an incredible team and introducing the next chapter of Destiny 2. So, without further ado, this is the Witch Queen.
Oh, look how happy these boys are.
Oh, man.
What?
Oh, this is the music track I've been listening to all day. It is creepy as. Have there been many green trees in Destiny?
In the Garden of Salvation, you'll find there are green trees, and also in the Dreaming City.
Truth is a funny thing.
Love that armor.
Isn't this just like iconic imagery already?
In the world,
Everything could be framed or a screenshot
or
or a background.
Gross.
Gross, except for that. Don't frame that.
is it constant,
Oh my god, look at that head.
or can it be bent?
That's no drang.
They're all around us.
Who decides what
Armor
is
is sick.
true
This is my favorite armor.
in this universe of light?
Don't get
and
separated from your ghost.
There is
What
no
are these?
greater power.
Evil ghosts? Evil octopus
Tell
ghosts?
me,
They're
little
hive
light,
ghosts.
They are.
Oh my gosh.
what is
wasn't
your
rumor about
truth
that.
now?
She's bent the ghosts to her will
Oh my god.
and hivified them. Oh no.
They're so yuck, I want one on my feet.
Yeah, but actually I do like it.
Oh, okay, right.
So they're guardians.
Yeah, she's bringing back.
But the
Okay,
ghosts are. The hive guardians.
Oh my god, that is legitimately terrifying.
Does that mean they have hive armor on? Holy shit!
Oh my god. Oh my god. What the hell is that? The Witch Queen expansion just turns everyone evil.
Yeah!
Oh my god, that's crazy.
Oh my god, James. Sabathun is serious. I think she's the most dangerous villain we faced yet.
7 years we've been building up to this moment, and she is finally stepping into the spotlight and showing us who she really is. What we
reacted like he
know
didn't
about
know
light and
Sabathun
darkness
was
is
in.
proving to be really
Oh
more
my
complex than what we previously thought. There are so many
I've been on long
lies,
service leave
twists,
for
and
months.
revelations that we're going to get to in the Witch Queen in the year leading
had
up
6
to
babies.
it. I mean, we're paying off
those
these narrative
wings?
threads that go all the way back to Destiny's origins, and we're supporting it with the best content that Destiny has to offer.
Definitely. And we've got a lot of awesome content to show today. Let's start with the most mysterious destination yet.
I have those shoes.
Sabathune's Throne World. This is an
we have those
uncharted wonderland of secrets and lies. It's this place that she's created in her own image, this surreal and majestic light-blessed
Oh my
world.
gosh,
She has this
that looks
castle
big.
that she rules from. It overlooks this dark, swampy underbelly with this lone pyramid ship out there. It's the future
that's so
world
sick.
she wanted to create, built atop the darkness that she left behind.
And Throne Worlds, they're a deep part of Destiny lore. Powerful
Yeah.
entities create these pocket universes, and when we're there,
Can kill
we
her.
have to play by their rules.
But now, our own light powers are being used against us. I mean, she has this whole army of Hive that she's ascended to the light and brought along with her. These are the Hive Guardians, and they are the backbone of her new army.
Oh crap.
That's so cool.
We've talked a lot. Let's show a little. Let's take the first ever
I wanna
look at the
play a
Witch
Hive
Queen
Guardian now.
gameplay.
That's super cool. Does that mean they'll have abilities?
Yeah, no,
yeah,
we saw
absolutely.
they
What a
had
difference.
the Void and
Witch
Arc
Queen.
and Solar in that like shot when they were coming towards you.
Cunning and lies. After
This,
the
like,
death
like
of
the
her
organic
brother
feel.
Oryx,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but is she weaving this like
Sabathun went into hiding.
kind of space that you're in that like she's puppeteering it? It almost looks like.
Not
Absolutely.
out of
She,
fear, of course.
the Throne Worlds are kind of designed entirely by
But out
the
of strategy.
Hive Gods. Their own personal hell.
Oh, good, terrifying.
In her greatest trick yet,
Samurai sword?
stealing our most sacred resource.
Convincing us she never existed in the first place.
The one thing we thought she could never touch. The light.
Yeah, right.
Oh, God.
Wow.
There are going to be some missions.
Yeah, that's crazy.
God.
It's like a pole arm.
Yeah, right.
Oh, sick! It's like a glaive.
It's not like the sword that's
For that one,
back to
yeah.
third person.
Yeah, different.
That's a great point.
Kill it.
Crush it at the end.
Man, I guess it makes sense if Guardians can wield the darkness
cannot
for
wait
good,
to reach
then
out and
Sabathun
just
can
crush a
wield the
Hive Ghost
light
in
for
my hand.
Yeah, I mean, we've been defined
that.
by the light for so long. This is uncharted territory for us. I mean, we're in strange new places. Like the Throne World, it's haunting, but it's gorgeous.
It's beautiful. There's a lot to love. There's a few things we saw in the trailer that we haven't talked about yet.
Sabathun and her lucent brood. This is the biggest threat Guardians have faced yet, so we need to find new weapons to match their power. The Glaive.
What is
I love this thing.
Glaive.
It's brutal and elegant.
Nice.
It's this new energy weapon with melee abilities, mid-range projectiles, and defensive capabilities. It's our first
Destiny,
ever
everything is
first-person
technically
melee
a
weapon. And it is such an awesome tool for the battlefield.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that. I love that.
Oh, that
love
blade
that it
feels
keeps you in
so
third
good.
person.
Just jump in and unleash these brutal melee combos and transition right to an energy blast.
That's awesome.
It's really powerful and has a lot of utility.
So, we've told you about what the Glaive can do.
We
Now
need
let's talk
another
about how
OP
you're going to
sword
get your
this
hands
season.
on one. These weapons don't come out of chests at the end of missions, and you're not going
Lament.
to find one roaming around the throne world. Your first Glaive is not going to be found. It's going to be built.
Yes, weapon crafting is coming
nice.
to Destiny 2.
Nice.
What?
Now, chasing
What?
weapons has been an integral part of the Destiny pursuit game since the
The
beginning.
perfect gun already.
And
And
over
it's
the
not-
years,
not a
we've
heavy
added
weapon
more
either.
deterministic
It's like-
tasks to get the
it's
rolls
a-
you
it's
want
a-
on
triggers on it.
Think things
An
like
energy
fumble
weapon?
engrams and the raid chest.
Weapon crafting
Right, so it's built
unlocks
into-
the freedom to choose all that and more. It
my
gives
God.
us
They've
ultimate
gone
control
full
over the
MMO.
guns.
Yeah.
Now, this is a combat-focused crafting and progression system. That means the more you use these weapons, the more objectives you complete with them, the more you'll level them up, and the more powerful they grow over time. And at launch, here's the
That's
awesome
cool.
thing.
That
You'll
looks
be
sick.
able to
It's like-
craft all throne world weapons, new raid weapons, and the seasonal weapons. There's just
Nice.
a ton of stuff to do in this system.
Design
and
is
the Witch
cool.
Queen is just the beginning of weapon crafting. We have plans to add more craftable weapons, both legacy and new, throughout the year.
We've
Wow.
seen and we've talked about a lot of really cool features,
Legacy
but let's get
weapons as
right
well.
into the meat of it. Let's talk about
That's
the
good
Witch
because I'm
Queen
missing a
campaign.
ton.
These are all new, right? Sure.
I love campaigns. They've always been a
Augustus
cornerstone of the
didn't
Destiny
craft like
experience. They're rich,
Oh, man.
deep stories interwoven with big combat sequences and memorable
That's my
characters.
shot.
They take us
Let's
to
go.
remote worlds
That's
in
a
their
Ro-
ever-changing
that's a
universe.
Rorschach that's
And so
saying,
we're
What'd you
putting
say?
extra care into
Witch
our
Queen
campaign
for
for
the
the Witch
killer
Queen.
lady?
We want you to feel those goosebumps when you step onto the throne world for the first
Is that a
time and come
new enemy?
face to face with Hive Guardians.
I've got it.
Yeah.
And every one of the missions has its own unique fantasy. Like, what does it feel like to storm a castle or just go straight into the depths
Sick.
of hell?
If you
Sick.
like games with standalone campaigns like Doom, Titanfall 2, God of War, and Halo, then the Witch Queen is for you.
God, that's a good list of games.
That's a great list of games.
So,
Man, Destiny does
Put 'em all
scale
on
so
blender.
well, doesn't it?
Legendary.
You drop
Halo-
down like
Halo wants to
at the
reach.
center of the planet.
campaign, where the enemies hit harder and respawning is heavily restricted.
I was gonna say, are
every
these
battle
guys-
is a gut punch. Every boss is a
Wow.
worthy adversary.
These guys are going to be
It's gonna hurt.
bosses, but they're not coming
You might tap
like it
out,
looks like.
but
They
if
look
you
like boss-
persist
like
and you
they'll be
get to the
lieutenants
end,
of-
your time will
Yeah,
be well rewarded.
Avathun or
Whether you
something.
want to play solo or with a fire team, the difficulty will scale based on how many people you bring. Before we
Oh,
go,
cool, so the
one
finishing
last trip
move
down
is
memory
you
lane.
pop it.
I remember
Oh, I
ramping
love
out
that.
the Predator for
I love
Destiny
that.
1 because I just
I kind of hate it because I love Ghost so much, and
Destiny.
surely the Hive
And if
ones
you care
aren't
about
evil
that stuff
just 'cause
like me,
they're
you're going to want to get your hands
alive.
on the collection.
You can't
edition,
save them
'cause
once
you're
they've
gonna
been
get a Hive
corrupted.
buddy to go up on
I
the
want
shelf
to save
with.
them all.
Yeah, but Peter, it goes.
The story difficulty scales depending on how many people you have.
That's
Your
good.
raid team.
That's cool. That's cool.
Is this an IRL one? It totally is. It's the
Yeah.
one on the
Speaker.
desk.
This is a Bose mini sounds
Why
make
it's got
too.
knobs? It's got knobs. All speakers have knobs, just like everything in Destiny has a trigger.
There it is.
Oh,
What is it?
you turn on it,
that's
it goes,
so cool.
"You've awoken
I'm
me."
I'm so excited for this one. And that's not even everything that's in there, too.
I know. Those are the hero items, and they're, I think, one of the best ones that we've ever done. Collector's editions have
That's
always
great.
been like this
Sold
really
out already, says
perfect
Boxy in chat.
jumping point to enter
wow.
the worlds that we build, and actually
Oh, the way they're filming that
lifting
is
like,
stunning.
in-world objects and putting them in players' hands is it's just a good feeling.
We don't just put random items. Everything in there means something, and it helps push the narrative. And there might be some puzzles to unlock in there as well.
Wait, in the toy?
You get it and break it open. Aww.
So at this point, you can see Sabathun has been one of our greatest threats, operating behind the scenes for years.
You may have heard of her brother, the Taken King, but Sabathun is the most dangerous being we've ever faced. She's cunning, elusive, she works in the shadows, so in a way, Sabathun is new to all of us.
Exactly, and now it's time to finally see this legend reveal
God, I think
herself
she works
and
for
change the
Sabathun.
Destiny universe.
There's a Sabathun in all of us, I think.
When we talk about the overarching story of
Sabathun's
Destiny,
largely
we don't just mean the
misunderstood.
plotlines of characters
feature release to release. Narrative is a guiding force in Destiny, and we're calling on its rich history of world building, bringing that to the
I have some literature for you about
growing it in a bold new direction. So when you join the game today, you'll experience an immediate call to action alongside millions of your fellow Guardians.
During this past year, we watched the results of your actions play out across Destiny's seasonal releases. You've redeemed old foes, brought former enemies to the bargaining table, learned that there's always more than one side to every story, and built alliances no one ever thought possible.
And on the larger scale, you'll experience a vast, living, interconnected world of stories that's striving to a greater end.
That voice.
Lance
You'll
Reddick.
experience this alongside a massive community of Guardians, release after release, together. This is our universe's cosmic purpose. This 10-year journey we've been on since Destiny 1, it's drawing to its dramatic conclusion. The Light and Darkness saga will end. But make no mistake, Destiny 2 will not. We're building not so much to an ending, but more to this transformative moment for Destiny 2's future.
Last year, we announced The Witch Queen and the following expansion, Lightfall.
And now we're excited to announce the release after Lightfall, the final chapter in the Light and Darkness saga, Destiny 2, The Final Shape. It's going to be one wild, continuous ride.
Yes, and that ride
it's a
starts
triangle.
with Season of the Lost. Not only is it the prologue to The Witch Queen, it's your first opportunity to interact with Sabathun.
It's upside down, though.
Rather than spoil it for you, why don't we take a look?
Yes, let's take a look.
If we are to survive the coming storm, the tower and the dreaming city must stand united.
It's so pretty.
Yeah. Finally be able to shake this taken corruption finally, hopefully.
Inward from the edges of our system.
I like the music.
The Witch
A tale of two
Queen is no less
queens.
dangerous now than she has ever been. We must uncover whatever secrets she knows with the time that we have. Relight the pathways of the Ascendant Plane and guide my people back to me.
Cool.
There is a malevolent force at work in this plane, Guardian.
It's the house from Loki.
Aegis Scepter. Oh, cool.
Oh, yeah.
Holy shit, that looks awesome.
That's like
sick.
stasis linear fusion.
It's like a big drang. Hey, it's a big drang. It's totally it. Yes! Crossplay.
Nice. That's so good.
Wow.
Hammer time.
Watch out, Steph. All that jumping.
Them, I can see this
Nice.
Season of the Lost.
I kept forgetting that was a season announcement and not an expansion announcement.
Yeah, seasons have gone through massive transformations since Shadowkeep. We're dedicated to creating an evolving, interconnected world that puts your Guardian at the center of the action. We're reaching the end of one journey and the beginning of another.
The days of Destiny's biggest story moments happening in lore pages is long gone. I mean, Mara's return has been hinted at forever, and now it's happening in a season. One of the changes I'm most excited about are the updates to the light subclasses every season in year 5 of Destiny 2. We're adding aspects and fragments similar to Stasis. We'll be starting with the Void subclass update that goes live alongside the Witch Queen is only the beginning of what's to come. And Season of the Lost is the prologue to that
Oh my gosh. It's like a Void Shadow Die.
Return to the Dreaming City, and with her return, all the awoken technology comes alive.
But the Hive God of War, Zebu Wrath, has reemerged and has Guardians and Mara in her sights. Guardians must forge a path through the Ascendant Plane to save Mara's lost coven of witches before Zebu Wrath can reach them. And to aid you in this task, you'll have the Wayfinder's Compass.
The time is at hand. The beacons shine bright and the ley lines are set up.
That's what's north.
It's an ancient awoken artifact that gives the wielder the power to uncover pathways, secrets, and treasures within the Ascendant Plane.
There's a plethora of new weapons coming, including a suite of legendary stasis guns that will stop your enemies cold.
Stasis guns.
Give me them.
Nice.
The armor makes you feel like you're a member of Queen Mara's court.
And no season is complete without new exotics, and Season of the Lost features one once intended for Aldrin.
Nice.
That's insane.
Let's take a moment to talk about Trials.
Trials, yeah.
of Osiris is the end-game aspirational PvP
Trials,
activity
right?
and
Real
more
good
popular
Trials.
than ever. Two of the biggest asks from our community have been adding anti-cheat and adding matchmaking. In Season of the Lost, we're doing both.
We've partnered with BattleEye to soft launch the anti-cheat software when Trials goes live on September 10th. Also, you'll be able to matchmake with groups of players to form fire teams or solo queue by yourself. And we've remixed how rewards are distributed to give all players the opportunity.
We put it on a scepter or something?
That's right.
No.
We're shifting away from winning matches.
Oh, we make it all like geometric and cool.
Winning individual rounds and completing matches will allow you to earn some rewards. But going flawless hasn't changed. So if you want to flex those PvP skills, the flawless chest will still be the only place to earn adept trials weapons and unique cosmetics.
Nice.
All right, so the next chapter in Destiny begins right after this stream with Season of the Lost. Return to the Dreaming City with Mara Sov and learn the mystic art of wayfinding.
I'm so excited crossplay is going live today.
And today is your first opportunity to jump into Destiny with friends on any platform from all over the world, playing together.
So good.
That's amazing. I thought it'd only been running 10 years. That's a classic Destiny joke.
30 years.
91.
I know. I'm 1 year older than
I never
Bungie.
really thought about Bungie before Halo.
They were making stuff.
Marathon?
Marathon was a pretty big... Yeah, Myth and Marathon were pretty big hits for them.
This little
And then
Indian.
along came
This little-
Master Chief.
Look at, oh, wow.
Jason Jones, the Daily Show guy? Who's that dog? What did that dog do? Is that dog a code?
That dog was the other co-founder.
My first. That's my first team.
Aw, that's sweet.
Oh, man.
That's too real. That's me.
I bet it smells awesome
I
in
can
there.
feel and smell that room. Yeah, totally. I know that room.
It's a company that prides itself on taking care of its employees and their significant others and their communities and those who are in need. It's pretty devastating as we look at the racism in America, and our intention is to do better and to leave the world in a better place. We want to be a part of that social change. Fuck racism.
We don't just stop with the games that we make, but we really utilize the successes that we've seen to be able to give back in an even greater capacity that spans beyond just the gaming industry.
Bungie Foundation, thank you.
Pressing button. We're live!
Destiny servers are live. This adventure has begun. It's awesome to have you here.
Imagine working for Bungie.
I know. I didn't expect Fields tonight.
Yeah, man.
This game is
Still holding your gun, Pete?
destroy my social life, and I can't wait.
God bless those
Sobbing-
people who
sobbing
make
into my gun.
full cosplay for games that haven't even been released yet.
I know.
Yeah.
Where would news channel puff pieces be without you?
And sir, what are you today?
All right,
Finish
Got a
it.
guy here dressed as a Halo.
Is Master Chief going to be in this one?
On it? Is it?
Yeah.
It's cool.
Petra.
Oni?
Oh, yeah. Oh man.
This is going to hurt. A lot.
No! No matter how many times I see it.
Don't do it.
No matter how many times.
Oh god, we can fix it.
You're just too expensive.
That'll be you in there one day, Gus.
This is great. Anyone want a hug? Hugs?
Yes, yes, please,
Nice.
Cade.
What if she brings Cade back?
Don't make the last bit him when you've just shown the bit before.
How do you follow that? Wow, 30 years. And I remember when Halo first launched, and my friends and I completed the entire campaign in a single epic play session. And as the credits rolled, I knew that Bungie had transformed console gaming forever, and that I would be a lifelong fan.
Yeah, it changed how we played games too. I remember getting together with friends for Halo weekend LAN parties. We had so much fun. And 30 years of Bungie games is something special. It's something worth celebrating together. So we're gonna have a party in Destiny 2.
Starting this December, we are launching the Bungie 30th Anniversary Celebration in Destiny 2. Free for all players, the 30th Anniversary Celebration will offer a new 6-player matchmade activity, secrets to unravel, and rewards that commemorate our long and storied history together.
And that's just the beginning. In addition to the free event, players can also purchase the Bungie 30th Anniversary Pack that includes a new treasure-themed 3-player dungeon set on the Cosmodrome within the fabled Loot Cave. Players will plunge in its depths.
In the Loot Cave?
Exciting new Thorn-inspired armor sets and fan-favorite Destiny 1 weapons like Izaluna and Thousand Yard Stare. It even has the Claymore sword from Myth.
Purchasing the pack unlocks a range of awesome Bungie-themed armor ornaments and cosmetics to collect, including ornament sets inspired by the Bungie 30th Anniversary Celebration and Marathon. But the dungeon holds one more secret. The crown jewel of its weaponry is a Destiny 1 classic. Gjallarhorn is making its long-awaited debut in Destiny 2.
We're going to take a tiger to the next level. Gally has been carefully updated for the Destiny 2 sandbox.
So, this December, join your friends as Bungie
That was well put.
during the Bungie 30th
Carefully
Anniversary
updated
Celebration.
for Destiny 2
The party isn't
sandbox.
only happening in Destiny 2. We've partnered with Nerf Limited to create a functional, dart-firing Gjallarhorn. We'll have more on that.
What?
That's not all. Here's a look at some of the incredible
That's
loot
too big.
we've made over the years.
Well, we need one. We need one for the office, obviously.
It's like they're ignoring what they just said. Go, make a trailer about that thing.
Wow, Lorraine, I can't believe we're celebrating Bungie's 30th anniversary.
30 years.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
I mean, think of all the games and products that have come out over these years.
Yeah, starting Operation Desert Storm, Pathways into Darkness, Marathon, Myth, Oni, Halo, and Destiny. 7 years of Destiny. It's an amazing journey.
So excited.
Nighthawk, Celestial Nighthawk.
Stuff coming
in
up
the loot
and
cave?
a lot of other things in the works.
There were new Palladium boots here as well.
New boots, Nick.
I mean, what do we have?
God
We
damn
have
it,
the
get them.
Fallen
Nathan, get me the
statue,
boots.
which is incredible.
And then we have the helmet, the Celestial Nighthawk
That thing is
helmet.
so cool.
Yeah, and my favorite
wow.
is the Arcadia jump ship.
Yeah, I get goosebumps just thinking about that. You know, it really gives me that nostalgia from Destiny
design,
1.
that one.
So I think it's a great way we're going to celebrate not only Bungie's 30-year heritage, but the 7-year heritage of Destiny.
Yeah.
And it definitely gives you the feels.
Oh, those automatic camera rigs.
I know.
They're so
Yeah, that's really cool. We need one for the office.
good. We do. Yeah. We gotta film a pocketing mode from 7 angles.
I love that Nighthawk, and I love those
for
boots.
being on this journey with us, whether it started this year or 30 years ago.
We've just started talking about the Witch Queen today. You've got our first peek at weapon crafting, our definitively Destiny campaign, the Glaive, and a year full of updates to all our light-based subclasses. All of this and more is coming alongside Sabathune's long-awaited arrival front and center to the Destiny universe. The Witch Queen marks an acceleration in our story heading towards the conclusion of the Light and Dark saga, and we're so excited for everyone to join us on this epic adventure in the Witch Queen, Lightfall, the Final Shape, and beyond.
And the Witch Queen's going to kick off another amazing year of Destiny with 4 great seasons packed with all of the narrative, events, and rewards that you've come to expect from us. But there's even more coming next year than just our new seasons. The deluxe edition of the Witch Queen will also include 2 brand new dungeons to be released in 2022. And we're also going to be remastering another classic Destiny 1 raid and releasing it free for all players.
This means going forward, starting this December with our 30th anniversary event, there will be a new piece of raid or dungeon content in the game every 3 months.
Cool.
In 2022, we will also be adding legacy rotations for raids and dungeons, meaning every week there will be new ways to earn rewards in both the latest and greatest content and raids and dungeons from the past. If you love amazing in-game content, we want to prove that no other game offers more quality and more variety than Destiny 2.
We hope that you've enjoyed a look into the future of Destiny 2. Witch Queen pre-orders are available wherever you play Destiny. Crossplay is live on all devices, and Season of the Lost kicks off
I wonder if
today.
that's
See you in
the
game.
raid, the classic raid that they bring back. The King's Fall.
So that's one classic raid, but then they're saying they're going to bring like a rotation later on.
Truth is a funny thing. Who decides what is true?
Oh, I love these locations.
Tell me, little light. What is your truth now?
She's so scary, isn't she?
She's
terrifying.
is no less dangerous now than she has ever been. Prepare for what is inevitably to come.
Oh man, that Glaive is so sick. Yeah.
So bad.
I don't think that's ever not going to be satisfying. Popping the little
Yeah.
every time, just like done.
You're right. Pete. You do want to kind of save them because I think there's only so many ghosts in the world, right? And the more that we're squishing, the less there are, even if they're corrupted.
Just one more.
Oh man,
just one more.
It's so exciting to see. Right before Beyond Light, they pulled so much content out of the game, and then we had the new expansion, we had Europa, and the new subclass, obviously. So that's been keeping us busy. But now it's so exciting to see them like literally funneling content back in from here on out.
And I think in a way that's just not overwhelming. Like there's already so much to do in the game, so it's like I think it's a much more kind of refined onboarding now. So it's
a little overwhelming, but the fact that Witch Queen is still 2021, 2022. Yeah. So, I mean, as you said, there's a long runway up to that in terms of, well, it's actually not that long, is it really? It's actually coming up pretty quick. But in terms of what to do in the next season itself is a lead up into it. I'm like, I feel like I'll be up to scratch by the time that actually drops.
you got time to get good again.
There was time.
Yeah, but also like when you jump on with new expansions, everyone's light level is reset. So it's not like there's gear and weapons and stuff that you kind of always want to get, but you're never having to kind of level grind to catch up to people from zero, which I think is the smartest thing about it.
That was just back to back cool info.
Yeah,
that was a good little prezzo.
Relentless.
Yeah,
there's so much there, wasn't there?
Announcements. But okay, let's start going through it. Before we do though, I want to give away 4 emblems. So just in chat, just say I want an emblem, and then
this is how we thought this through.
Yeah, this is the extent that we thought this through. Well, it's just like I don't have time to be sending out too many codes, and I'll just write you down, and then I'll send you a code.
Please only say you want an emblem if you are an avid Destiny player, because they are rare.
Yeah, Mr. Baxter Lord, you get an emblem. And Gus, do you want to pick one?
Sure. I'll go with Spiceman 2000.
Spiceman 2000.
Spiceman 2000.
Peter?
Yep. I see Tilted Frog.
Tilted Frog?
You heard it here first.
And Stephanie?
I see Belfast. Well, they said me. Does that count?
Well, it's too late to take it away now.
Yeah, now we've named it. I feel it would be bad for us to take it away. Is it BELFESS?
Yes.
Yes, Belfast. Congratulations.
Yep,
you get an emblem. When you watch me just while someone else is talking, and I'm talking to the audience now, when like Pete or Gus or Steph are talking and my eyes glaze over, it's not because I'm bored, it's because I'm copying an emblem code and DMing it to someone in Twitch. So that's all that is. Okay, let's start off. So we have a launch date for this, which is February 22nd, 2022. That's a lot of twos.
Yeah,
for Destiny 2. And then obviously let's start off with the Witch Queen trailer, adding the new location, which is Sabathun's throne world, which looks like an enormous bowl. I'm gonna say.
Yeah, it's got that kind of taken Red Keep vibe to it, but with her own kind of she had a different decorator in there.
It seems like it's going to be like morbidly sad because of the idea of it. As I said, it's like what she envisaged it to be. It's an aspiring kingdom that never really comes to fruition by the looks of it. So I feel like it's going to be pretty glum in a cool way.
Oh no, but what's awesome about a Hive stuff, I think, as well, particularly their architecture, is it feels really fantasy. Like there's so much about Destiny that combines sci-fi and fantasy in the best way. That's one of the things I love about it. That, and there's like a lot of women in it. Like they exist in this world, which is nice.
Yep.
But yeah, I find the Hive stuff and all of that kind of architecture feels like really gothic, traditional fantasy, and really kind of dark and cool. I love it. I can't wait to go there.
It's your moody emo teen bedroom in a castle form.
Totally.
It's the
Yeah.
next expansion.
But also, like, I can't wait to see what the raid is going to look like, and the kind of the set piece for whatever the raid is for the Witch Queen.
It's gonna be the bowl hat. The basketball hoop hat.
Yeah, it's just you shoot 3-pointers at the hat.
Yeah.
I love the design of that place. Like I said during the thing, I like the organic stuff. Like I definitely liked the snow expansion. I'm just going to refer it to the snow era, let's say, that we've are coming out of. But I there's just something about the idea of like the slick armor, the sharp angles of like your weaponry, your armor and everything going into a very like swampy, organic-y, sort of wet place that is very, very appealing to me.
Totally.
It feels very alien, like a foreign alien.
And so in contrast to like the Deepstone crypty kind of exo factory places that we were in on Europa that were very kind of technological in the way that they were. And now this is, as you say, really organic and kind of the polar opposite of that. It's awesome.
As you said, Steph, like playing into the fantasy sort of juxtaposed with sci-fi being on top of a swamp, which is like for every kind of like evil castle sits atop like a rotten land around it, a marshland, that kind of thing as well. And just get the vibes you get, especially that bit. What do we see there? Something is growing out of the mouth of a statue there that look like...
They look like beautiful flowers.
They look like beautiful... Okay, so then maybe it's not as dark and morbid as we thought. It's just beautiful flowers that grow out of your mouth.
Well, they're beautiful flowers that will die. So that,
once we crush them in our fists, because that's what we do apparently. Murder everything.
That's the new ultimate weapon in Destiny 2 is just your hand. I will say that I think the armor in this looks incredible as well. Like that black, silver, like you know when you're driving around and someone has like a, I don't know, cars, let's just say Honda XV. That sounds like a vehicle. But it's got that sort of matte black painting. And you're like,
sure.
And you're like, that looks dumb. That looks good on armor. That doesn't look good on a car, but that looks good on armor. So I like what's going on there.
Yep. Well, if you want armor to be a little bit of camouflage as well, so you don't want to be reflecting light back at the thing.
I do. All my armor has got like LEDs all over it. It's like super glowy. You can see me from a mile away.
She's walking through a dark swamp, being like, "We got 20 minutes till she gets here, guys. It's fine."
It's so true. It's actually like going through the swamp, and it's like, oh, hang on a second.
Here she comes
just
now.
Turned up because it's just like purple light beaming.
She's got the remote on herself.
There was one like hunter cloak that I had that was so bright that when I did the first section of Deepstone Crypt, the in-game bloom effect on it actually like impeded my vision, and I had to take it off because I couldn't see where I was going.
Amazing. There are Destiny lore aficionados amongst us. Pete and Steph particularly know quite a bit Destiny lore, but no one knows more Destiny lore than someone that we know. So we actually reached out to Destiny 2 lore fiend, author, podcaster, streamer, YouTuber, and man who thinks if you aren't making a 90-minute Destiny 2 video a day, you aren't even trying to like the game, Mylan Games, to see what in the Witch Queen Showcase was making Mylan muse.
Makes you muse, doesn't it?
I do appreciate you putting the noise that I requested in the text.
It was the 6 takes that I had to do of it before I realized I couldn't get it right, and I just found something.
Mylan's also the co-host of the Destiny Down Under podcast. He literally wrote the book on Destiny lore with the Grimoire, and for some of this more obscure lore stuff, we reached out and just said, you were up at 1 o'clock this morning watching this. Can you send us some of the things lore-wise that sort of like popped for you that you thought could be interesting?
Nice.
And the first musing that we got through was something that Steph touched on a bit earlier, which is remember that throne worlds prevent death of the hive royalty. They can only be killed truly if they are killed within their throne world. So to enter Savathun's throne world implies the final showdown with Savathun will permanently defeat her. So we are essentially... Yes, totally. And I think that this is kind of like a big deal because, this villain has been looming over Destiny lore for a while, as they mentioned, often in the shadows. And then for her to have her big coming out party in one expansion, but then potentially at the end of that expansion, it's like, no, you're dead now. You're Cade dead now. It is a big move.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, so exciting.
Yeah, I mean, we saw with Oryx, we had to defeat him multiple times. So I wonder, because I think that beat has been played of going like, we kill Oryx, but Oryx escapes back to his own throne world where he's more powerful than ever and fully recovered, and now we're on his turf.
Yeah.
As players and in the lore, Guardians know all this now, so it makes sense for the first confrontation with Savathun to be within her own throne world. We know we just want to fight you once and then make it stop.
Root and stem, tearing out the problem and dealing with it for good.
That's making the jump that that they are defeated and that you aren't the story doesn't lead you to some kind of conflict that leads you running away with your tail between your legs. Yes, entering the throne world implies that if she's defeated. I don't know. I'm just thinking there's there's always, they want to stretch this stuff out. Maybe they don't. They don't want to put a pin in some things, but it's
I think it'll be final. I think there are too many other possibilities of and villains to kind of explore. I remember I loved this TV show that was based on a series of fantasy novels, and like any sort of formulaic show, it was like they had all their mini adventures and an overarching storyline. And when they got to the end of the first season,
Sliders?
No, it was Legend of the Seeker, which was based on the Sword of Truth series. But at the end of the first season, they obviously hadn't been told whether or not they were going to get renewed. So it was like they had to kind of give a final ending to the episode that was like, everything's wrapped up and this is a good closure for anyone who may never see any more of this show. And then they'll be like, but there may be other dangers out there that we could explore. We just don't know.
Which will be the catalyst for other adventures.
Yes.
Chat made a good point that it's highly unlikely that they'll put Savathun behind the raid barrier, because a lot of people don't actually do the raid.
So few people actually complete,
Yeah, so it'll be story stuff if we do go and knock her off in the end.
Maybe the raid is how we kind of soften her up for the final kill.
So in that
sense, loosen the lid on the jar.
I think the raid would be...
The raid is just 45 minutes of holding her under a hot tap and just and occasionally banging her against the lid of that giant bowl.
The end of the table.
But then for everyone who hasn't done the raid, they just get to that story mission and she hobbles out of a room. And you're beaten up. And
I'm like, hey, that was all me. That was all me. I did all that. you just twisted it a little at the end.
Just that crown head comes right off.
I think what we're likely to see is something subservient to Savathun. I mean, in a way, it's not necessarily canon, but it is a heavily supported theory that Riven was influenced by, Last Wish raid boss was influenced by Savathun. We know that they made a deal, but there is thought that Savathun outwitted Riven in that. And I'm sure Savathun's got a few other baddies under her belt to throw our way. Because I think the really interesting thing about
I
think the really interesting thing about this character and what makes her a great villain is this idea that she is more in control of information than power. I think she's obviously very powerful herself, but the idea that she manipulates from behind a veil is a really cool thing. Because, you know, I don't necessarily think we need to see, we probably will, but I don't think we need to see us 1v1 sword fight Sabathune. I think we need to
Sabathune's shins. It would.
Yeah. I think it's going to be like we need to outwit her in her game. That'll be the satisfying kind of like conclusion to that battle, I think.
With the wings a reveal? Because they kind of freaked me out a little bit. But is that something that was just like, oh, that's cool as an aesthetic choice, or is that like something that you weren't expecting?
It's very Moth.
I didn't expect Moth. I did not expect Moth. I like it.
Okay.
I like it too.
She was very good at concealing that piece of information. That was the one thing she's like, I can't let them know I'm actually just a huge moth.
Maybe the way you get rid of her in the raid is you just open a window and you just you get her out.
You just turn on a light.
Yes. There you go.
I also like all the shots of her just kind of like hanging out in the hot tub as well, you know, in the water. She seemed really relaxed.
Like all things, it's kind of like I'm just over here minding my own business, and then suddenly a raid team bursts in and shoots me. So it looks like something else that's part of her plan is this ghost stuff, which was not expecting at all. I could have expected this because I did get a message from Mylan today. I just forwarded it on to Gus, who had no idea about any of the things that he was reading. So he put this together. But the second Mylan musing is that we do know that there are only a limited number of ghosts in the world.
You said that,
so
Seth.
no more have been made. So the fact that she's converting them or made, which he doubts, is a very big deal. And that's true. Ghosts like matter can neither be created. Well, maybe they can be destroyed because we actually saw a couple of eyes pop there. There is no general rule as well about like how ghosts choose the guardians that they resurrect or choose to like resurrect someone and make a guardian. And I did, and Mylan has added a note here that's like, of course, ghosts can make mistake, which is how we have villain guardians and warlords during the Dark Age. So it could be just like a lot of these ghosts were like, look, I'm really sorry. I just picked some bad. I made a bad
call. Yeah. No, ghosts can definitely be killed because remember, a ghost is what brings a guardian back from the dead, and so once your ghost is killed, then you lose that ability to resurrect, which is how Cade goes in the end.
But the created is actually the part that I was focusing on there, and that so whether it's like are these fallen guardians who?
Well, that's what I had assumed. Again, coming at this from the is in terms of like the bit in the trailer where all the she's like regenerating and creating that army. Is that just fallen? That's just fallen. That's not any of the actual like the chrysalis style guardians.
They were like hive that she was bringing back to life with the ghost. You know, the same way that it works for our light guardians is that they then have a ghost that's bound to them and is bringing them back to life. So we need to destroy them.
But bringing the guardians back doesn't bring their ghosts back as well. Hence, that's why you've got them.
No.
Right.
No. So when you die, your ghost brings back.
She's converting the ghosts from all the players who've been AFK since Destiny 1.
That's great.
My ghost!
all those ghosts got emails saying your account has been inactive for 24 months. If you do not log in within the next week, we will.
They got the literature from that Bungie rep on stage who was like, Sabathune actually has some really interesting things that you should learn, and the ghosts are like, she's not wrong.
A bit of a black hole in my understanding of the lore is that like light is basically like we still don't know what the Traveler is, right? It's just
it's an entity.
It's the entity
a big round entity
that brings the light. And so like I'd always taken for granted that the Traveler had introduced the ghost to us, whether the Traveler creates them or not. Does it mean there's another entity like the Traveler that is working for the dark that can in the same way create dark ghosts? Or
I think about darkness a bit like the nothing in Never Ending Story, where it's like it just is a
Stuff
thing
of my
that
nightmares?
that doesn't take any sort of specific shape, but like sucks the life out of everything that it kind of touches, which is why it was so scary when we saw it kind of creeping across the map of the solar system and kind of like engulfing all of those planets. It was really, really spooky.
Just chat. Can I get an orb in chat as well? It started a little bit, but I feel like I want to see that done properly. Also, the final expansion referencing the final shape. There could be something there with the Traveler. Traveler turns into a triangle. That's my big theory. Orb becomes a triangle.
You heard it here first.
So there's the triangle ship in that next expansion, in which they were like, there's the swamp, there's the castle, and there's like a mysterious.
Those pyramid ships.
Pyramid ship. Yeah, that's out there as well. There's another region in that area. No, I was just talking from like a design perspective, like everything's lore here based, but it's like the way they've been going, or Bungie have been going with it, is kind of finding the light and the dark versions of everything in the game, and it's a cool counterpart to everything you have. So in the sense that now there are the Guardians, now there are the darkness ghosts, and it's like it's not a stretch to think that there is, like, as you said, Steph, kind of like a yin and yang version of the Traveler or something. Could be something that they look at developing as something that's interesting for the lore going ahead.
Yeah, it's the stay-at-homer. It's a massive orb that never left the house. Speaking of design, the ghosts, the evil ghosts, I think it raises a lot of lore questions about, if we strip back the metal on a ghost, is there bone underneath? Because they were all bone.
Are we talking about like what's inside Pockety? Is it flesh inside? Yeah. And then when Gus did that unzipped Pockety that had flesh inside, I was like, now are we just committed to this? This is creepy.
Really Have you ever taken a Pockety and just gone...
So hopefully that's something we'll find out in the expansion as well. Some other things coming to the expansion that I jotted down while watching. So excuse my quick notes. Weapon crafting coming to Witch Queen. And not only weapon crafting, but I think, and I don't know because Destiny, God, I love you so much. Sometimes there is some balance issues when it comes to some weapons coming in and out, and that's all just part of the fun of new weapons coming. So I don't know what the balance is going to be like for something like crafting a weapon that then grows in power over time. But I think that's a really cool idea, that the more you use something, the more powerful and upgraded that becomes. Pete, I know that you already have Drang, but do you reckon you could build yourself a second weapon?
I think it's going to be.
Oh,
isn't it cool?
Look at that plastic mold. You just pour your putty in there and you get yourself a weapon.
You could make some nice fancy chocolates.
No, there used to be
molds.
ones where you could do chocolates or jellies in them. Yeah, it's how you make a big rubbery edible Drang.
I made Peter some.
I love the little Guardian just standing next to it as well, just like waiting. Like it's like, I have to stay here till 2/22/2022.
I made Peter some chocolate biscuits one year with a Han Solo trapped in carbonite on them.
That's very good.
From an ice cube mold.
Very cool. I do think that. I do think. Why not? I never would have thought Destiny needs weapon crafting. But the announcement of it feels like a really cool idea. I imagine when you finish like crafting your weapon, you probably still get rolls on attributes as well. Maybe.
Well, I was going to ask. Yeah, maybe this is a way of like helping. Even though I'm sure it'll be like a long process to fully upgrade something, but a way of going, okay, if you don't want to run X amount of times to get Z, maths. Then instead you could sort of like build your weapon with your ideal rolls, but it's going to take you a while. But you do
some resources that are hard to
totally. As well, but you do earn progress doing a variety of activities as opposed to just like grinding out one dungeon or raid or something.
Yeah, and I guess too, there's an element of a lot of the weapons in Destiny come from decrypting Umbral engrams and stuff like that. And there's a kind of a busy work in that is more than just like getting the thing straight off the bat. And the idea of making that more involved and putting the pieces together and crafting stuff, I think for anyone who loves RPGs, it's fun. It's fun to do. It's exciting to build stuff.
Yeah, no, I love that stuff. And speaking of weapons that I love, let's talk about the Glaive. The only weapon that I think I will need. I think, first of all, I need to look up my understanding of what a glaive was, because I thought a glaive was something that you threw and came back to you.
We
but
had that
it's not.
discussion over what's a boomerang and what's a glaive, but no, this is clearly like a large spear stick with a trigger.
But it
European
turns out
polearm.
people who have been paid to make a weapon called the glaive and have spent hundreds of hours into developing
Did
said
some
weapon,
research?
They did
did
Google?
actually Google the word glaive, and they have created the right thing. This one does seem to have a trigger, though, which is super cool. Energy weapon. And I love the fact, like I said, keeps you in first person. That's awesome.
Yeah, that is clever. I mean, like the idea of the melee weapons, they're almost like a utility to jump into that third person in a lot of instances.
Totally,
So not having that is going to be interesting. I believe this is a second slot item, though. This isn't a power weapon.
Yeah, he said energy.
It's an energy weapon, right? So
Yeah,
sorry, I meant energy weapon. Sorry, I didn't mean power weapon. I meant
he did say that.
No,
he
but-
did say that.
No, sorry. I was just clarifying again in my own mind because
Did I say the right thing? I said
You
the right
did.
thing.
Let's assume you said the right thing.
Okay, good.
Let's assume you're always right.
Glaive.
No, I think so as well.
Glaive.
Except for that bit.
The point is we're going to be able to roll glaive and lament. Unless this is exotic. Then we'll have to roll glaive and
falling guillotine.
Falling guillotine. Stuff, yeah.
No, but I think what's cool too is that he was talking about melee combos. Like, you know, he kind of was striking with the front and then the back, and I think they're going to change up the way melee is used, because you know how you have your standard melee when you're kind of up in people's business, and you kind of, if you're a hunter, you do a little stab if it's in void or whatever, and or a punch. But then, you know, when you do your stasis melee, it's kind of like a throwing knife thing that you have as well. That's more of a ranged melee, and I think they're kind of differentiating between those two now, so that if you want to hold on to your ranged, your sort of powerful melee and just punch people, you can do that and then map the other kind of melee to a different button.
The way they played it in the trailer as well, and he was saying, as you said, Steph, you can mix up a sort of like a melee combo and follow it with a bolt at the end of it. Whether or not, would that be something that is dictated by like how you have to use the weapon? It has to be meleeed before it can build a charge to actually use? Because it seemed like, I was trying to work out how often they were actually using it as a projectile weapon. And it kind of looked like they were finishing off a combo move with it as well.
Well, even all swords in Destiny require ammo, which is a weird thing, but because they're weapons that have an energy power to them, they require fuel, I suppose. So I imagine this will be the same. I don't know if you need to charge it with melee attacks, but they're going to require some sort of ammunition.
Yeah. Well,
this one justifies that the most because it has a trigger, as we said.
You can actually shoot with it. Yeah.
I imagine it will replace your ability melee when you've got this. In your hands.
That's right.
I imagine that's what it'll be.
Yeah. I liked the skins as well that it showed.
This screenshot is like all the cool stuff. It's your armor, Nick, and that glaive. Oh, what a shot! And the castle in the background,
and then the castle, and the lovely greenery. Yeah. It's awesome.
Amazing.
The neon rave trim on the armor. Mwah.
I love that that like metal that has that kind of pattern on it as well. It's awesome.
Avexia has not shut up the entire time. So for those of you who don't know, Avexia is one of the lovely viewers, friend of the family, really, at this point. Of Backpocket, but the biggest Destiny nerd that we know, and it's just like the sounds that I feel like I've been hearing from his text has just been. Moving on, next thing that we got announced was that one of the light subclasses will get a stasis style rework every season during Destiny 2 Year 5. So they're starting with Void. Boo! Start with Solar, you cowards. And then obviously Arc will be fixed as well. Basically they've sort of like made changes and updates to the subclasses before, but this is Pete bringing them in line with the way that stasis works.
I have shamefully not even bothered finishing my aspects of stasis because I never use it.
Are you saying you cannot shadow dive?
I don't think I can shadow dive.
Steph, you did everything, right?
She collected all
the I get all the things.
Talk to me about why this is a good thing.
Well, so when you get stasis as a kind of like base ability, it gives you some like cool subclass powers, but you have the option to kind of take on extra little missions that will unlock aspects that will change the way you use that subclass. So, for example, the famous Shatter Dive, when you throw a kind of stasis ice wall grenade, you have the ability to kind of jump up really high and smash down into it, sending out a burst of ice and energy that does AoE attack on everything around you.
Shatter Dive.
Oh, it's so good. And I always yell Shatter Dive when I do Shatter Dive because I feel like it's more effective that way. Shatter Dive. And it's so great. It's so great. And it just gives a customizable way to enjoy a subclass in the way that you don't really have with the other three. Like it's
just a little bit deeper than the branching subclass. It lets you tweak more to your playstyle, which is really cool. And for like PvP or PvE or whatever, you can. It's more modifiers basically,
and they're different across every class as well. But I'm really interested to see how they will apply those changes to the current, to the three previous subclasses, because they've been so, tried and true for so long.
Yeah.
And anytime you introduce something like this, it really kind of changes the game a lot. There's going to be a lot of balancing that they'll need to have done. So I'm curious to see what the new kind of aspects for Void are and how they'll change the way you use Void. I
wonder if you'll have to go through a small sort of like mini quest chain to unlock the new stuff, because it's like you've been using Void for years, but
you absolutely will. You absolutely will. You have to work for everything cool in this game, but then it feels better once you get it.
The reason I think it's really, really cool is because it's like, I wouldn't say that the like light subclasses are stale. It's just that everyone knows them all so well after so many years. And another game that I'm super passionate about is Dota, and they changed their game in fundamental ways reasonably consistently. And jumping back, it really gives a fresh coat of paint to this thing that you spend so much time in. And it's just like, it still is going to feel really familiar, but you're going to have some surprises that are just going to make it a really like joyous like season of unlocking all that Void stuff, learning how it all works, and by the time the season's done, within 3 months you're on to the next one. So it's going to be a really cool year to just be like experimenting in Destiny.
Yeah. And it was so exciting as well when you got Stasis for the first time, because the idea of being a guardian of the light, having to commune with darkness to kind of wield this evil power was really kind of scary, and your ghost was really worried for you. It was just like, hey, I don't know if we should be doing this. Like, I support you, like, no matter what, but I just really feel like you should think about this because this is kind of scary. And you're like, shut up, ghost, I'm going to do it.
That was like heartbreaking. Those missions were so
it was really emotional.
I have to do it.
Don't look at me.
Don't look at me. And then they sort of rounded this out by saying that because it's the 30th anniversary of Bungie, obviously, that we're getting a new raid or dungeon every 3 months. So they're kicking up the cadence of release for this sort of like drip feed of content, which I think is really smart. Something about the deluxe edition of the upcoming expansion having 2 dungeons during year 5. I don't know whether or not that means that you can't play those unless you have
sounded like they were exclusive.
I think they will be exclusive. They'll definitely be like, so, I mean, dungeons aren't for everyone. They're mini raids, basically. They require a lot of teamwork, a lot of bashing your head against a wall, at least the first few times you try them. So I totally understand why that kind of gets separated. It's going to be great for people who, one thing it will do is it'll be probably pinnacle grinds for people every week. So it's going to be nice to have some, because at the moment we've really only got, how many dungeons are available right now? It's just Prophecy, right?
Prophecy, and
they're for smaller fire teams, aren't they? Dungeons.
There's 3. There's 3 dungeons at the moment. So
okay.
They are for smaller fire teams. Yes. Yeah.
Right.
Dungeons are like, do you hate yourself and your friends, but not hate yourself and your friends enough to do a raid? Do a dungeon. That's what dungeons are. So we're getting back.
Pit of Heresy. Oh my gosh, that's the one where you fall down into the earth and you just fall forever and ever and ever. That one's terrifying and amazing.
It's not called Mountain of Heresy, so that does make sense. Bungie is also going to be remastering a second classic raid. I feel like the Vault of Glass remaster was like a defining back pocket moment that was sort of like such a big community event for so many of the back pocket community. So it'll be cool that we're getting another one back. They didn't say which one that is, but as I said, we saw the guy was wearing Truman was wearing the Taken King expansion t-shirt, so it could be Kingsfall. And also we're getting a legacy rotation for raids, which I think is great. And I think, Steph, as you mentioned earlier, that they've removed like so much content from Destiny over the last sort of year that I do think that being able to cherry pick and bring back the best stuff is the best way to be able to get people playing it, but not feel like when you start the game for the first time, you're just like, oh my God, I'm never going to be able to finish all of this. So it'll be interesting to see what they actually choose to bring back. And so that's kind of it for the Witch Queen part of this. But there was also the seasonal Lost stuff as well, because even though we do have to wait until 2022 for Witch Queen, seasonal Lost is live right now, and I'm sure there are people who are both watching us and playing it as we speak. And Steph, this morning, you actually caught up with this season's creative lead, Robbie Stevens, and Bungie senior narrative designer, Nico Stevens.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, it was so cool. I was stoked to A, be doing a dev interview, and B, be doing a dev interview with devs from Bungie, who are working on a game that I've become so passionate about. And it was just, I have to apologize. I'm just a bit like falling over myself in the interview just because I was so excited to talk to them. And they were so kind to take time out of launch day to talk to us.
Yeah, totally.
There was one point we were doing a sound check with one of the devs, and the other dev was just standing here. He's like, "Apologies, I'm just working." We're like, "That's fine. That's fine. You take all the time you need."
The server's holding up. Yeah, they're fine. They're fine.
I don't want Reddit to blame me for something that's about to happen because I was interviewing somebody.
Yeah, but it was really cool to ask them questions about, stuff that you always kind of wonder about in game, and just to be able to hear it, from actual developers who are working on it, the challenges and the things that they were kind of inspired by creatively. And then I asked them a few silly, dumb questions as well, just for me. But yeah, it was really fun. So here it is. Well, I am here with Robbie Stevens, Assistant Game Director and Seasons Creative Lead on Destiny 2, and Nico Stevens as well, who is the Senior Narrative Designer. Guys, I'm stoked to be able to talk to you. This is a pretty huge moment for me, I've got to say.
Happy to be here. Thanks for having us.
It was exciting to kind of wake up this morning knowing that we had new content, and to be able to talk to you about it now is just really, really awesome. So we'll start with you, Nico. Just generally, where will the Season of the Lost take us, and how is it going to prepare us Guardians for the upcoming expansion?
In Season of the Lost, players will journey into the deepest corners of the Dreaming City and the Ascendant Plane, and they're doing this in order to fulfill a pact that Sabathun has made with Mara Sov to free her from her worm to get the real Osiris back. We are looking at the expectations that people have of trust around sort of familial units, and that sort of inherent trust that comes from like being around your family. One example of that would be Uldren and Mara Sov having this reunion in the season. For Mara Sov, from her perspective, she's meeting her brother again, her dead brother risen from the grave, but he has no idea who she is. And so we get to kind of see these connection points, how they've fractured and how they're being reformed now.
With every season, we're trying to tell a self-contained story that kind of has a clear beginning, middle, and end. But really, Season of the Lost is in many ways a continuation of the very end of Season 14, where basically Osiris, who, spoilers, which we're revealing today, is actually Sabathun. You learn that when you log on day one right here. Actually unleashed the Vex on the last city. And so the season actually picks up where the Vanguard's basically chasing after Osiris, and that's the very first mission you play when you log on during Season of the Lost. The story beats around family and trust trust and ultimately deception with Sabathun, because she is the god of cunning, so we can't trust everything she's saying. So that's something we play with a lot during the season. That's going to lead us directly into the Witch Queen later in 2022.
Can you shed a little bit of more light on what that means in terms of the title of the expansion being the Season of the Lost?
I'll start on kind of like the conceptual end, and then I want Nico to pick up on the story threads, because this is kind of how we build Destiny as a collective group. Something that was really important to us was like, we knew that, hey, there's a lot going on in the world right now, right, with everything that's happening, and even with the stories of the characters we're telling. And so part of it, and this is a personal thing for me that I'm talking about right now, part of the idea of Season of the Lost was like starting to go back to or reclaim things that, you know, maybe we haven't been able to do as much in our society, or, you know, in some ways we still can't continue to do. This was a season developed entirely from home as well. And so that's something where it's like, it's also about all these people at Bungie coming together to like overcome a difficult challenge. And that's something that I think is expressed in the characters as well. Sabathun literally comes to us at the top of the season to offer us a pact. She also needs help with something. She has her sister Xivu Arath hot on her tails too. So there's also another thing going on with family there that we talk about during the season.
Yeah, and when we were originally kind of talking about what the season was going to be called, we pretty quickly latched on to this word Lost and Season of the Lost, because not only is it tying into those familial aspects, more literally, it's actually talking about these Techians that we are going to head out and rescue in the Ascendant Plane. And as you play through Season of the Lost, more of the story of how they got there and why they're important will kind of come to light.
Maybe you could answer this, Robbie. With each new season, how do you keep longtime players satisfied while still making it accessible and approachable for new players to pick up the game completely fresh? Because that's got to be hard.
Yeah, that's a great question, and it's something we talk about a lot, honestly. So even though every season is connected to one another, we're still trying to tell ultimately like a self-contained story or a self-contained experience. Yeah. So everything about Season of the Lost, in many ways, is about becoming this wayfinding mystic, this person who's kind of like, you become a member of Queen Mara's court, and even if you don't know exactly who she is, the season kind of like picks up at a thread and starts to talk about what Mara cares about, what Petra is going to care about, what Sabathun's going to care about. So even if you don't know all of the pieces and exactly how they fit together, there's going to be a pretty crisp call of action at the top of the season. And so really for us, it's like, as long as you enter the game and you have a pretty strong idea of what you should be doing and the direct motivations of the characters within that season, we're hoping, you know, that entices you enough to jump in and keep playing. The other big thing for us too is like, both for returning players and new players, a big focus for us is how do we just inject what we call like novel activities content or novel things to do within the season. And so like stuff like Astral Alignment, the 6-player offensive, new updates to the Helm where you actually get to see the world change and evolve over time, and also weekly challenges and like seasonal challenges that help kind of like guide you through the experience of the season. So even if you're like, hey, what do I want to do this week, or what should I be doing this week? Like the seasonal challenges there are to help you. You can go to the Helm and talk to the vendors there, and they're going to give you a great idea of what's going on that week in the season. We're really trying to create a tight package that it's like, hey, anytime you log in, it's a pretty good time to jump into the game and play.
Yeah, and let's say that maybe you're coming in as a lapsed player, or you're coming in as somebody who's like never played Destiny before right now, right? And like you were saying, there's a lot of Destiny that has happened previously. And one thing that we've just brought into the game with Season of the Lost that I'm pretty excited about, just from like a narrative archival perspective, is the timeline. So if you're playing Destiny and you ever think, hey, what happened back in Forsaken? You can go to the director now, open up the timeline, scroll back to Forsaken, mouse over it, or controller over it with your joystick, and you'll see a little, blurb of like, here's kind of what happened in Forsaken, and you can see everything that went, from Forsaken up to Shadowkeep and Beyond Light and leading up to Witch Queen. So all those story elements are there too. I would say that we're adding more and more systems every single season to make sure that people who are coming in who are new have the ability to get caught up quickly.
We knew that Marasov would be returning one day because she told us she would. And I love the Dreaming City. It's got to be one of the most stunning locations of any game ever. And the lore around it is just so special. Was it fun returning to this location and kind of reworking it for the new season?
I also love Dreaming City. I think it's one of those places where, the first time you go into it, it just kind of you're gobsmacked, right? It just like hits you right in the face with how beautiful it is and the architecture. It was a lot of fun to come back to this area, especially knowing threads that we get to kind of like maneuver through this eve, you know? And knowing all these story points that were coming to a head at the Dreaming City. It just felt right to go back there.
Yeah, I think the other thing about the Dreaming City that is really fun for all of us, it leans a little bit more into the sci-fi fantasy side of the game as compared to some other destinations, and so that afforded us the opportunity to deal with more mystical or magical elements of the Dreaming City and awoken technology. Anytime we can create a season or create an expansion where we get to kind of expand on the culture of these people or a culture of a place or the culture of a destination, that's something that we love to like hitch our wagons to and just ride along with, because there's just so many stories to tell once you start getting deep into like, what would the Awoken do here? What would Awoken technology look like? What would Mara have done to, what part of her magic would she employ to find this lost coven of witches? Like, how do all these pieces connect together? Yeah, there's a lot that's going on in the season, and we speak to a bunch of those cultural things and those magical things that I think should be pretty fun to experience.
We've been seeing players asking for crossplay for a long time, so to find out that that's going to finally be in the game is going to be huge for friends who've been divided by platforms. How hard is it to implement something like that, and what are the kind of hurdles you're facing to make it happen?
So we've actually had cross save in the game now for I think almost 2 years, something like that. I might be a little wrong on my timeline here, but like what's happening with cross save is you'll see us like doing incremental progress on different aspects of Destiny systems, so that when today has finally happened, you can jump in on any platform, play with any friend, but also we're saving your progression across any of those platforms as well. The other thing that we had to think about a lot whenever we were doing this, is trying to really make sure that we have a large pool of players to like pull together for any of our matchmade activities. There's a bunch of other stuff that has gone into this from the tech back end, including like how chat works and how voice over IP or voice chat works in general. The laundry list just goes like on and on and on and on. And so like I like so far today, at least when we're looking at the live issues, since the game has gone live today, so far it looks like crossplay is working pretty well. Things are going pretty good. I'm going to knock on some wood on my desk here, make sure everything is still operating right. I'm sure something's going to fall over as soon as I say it. Murphy's Law here. But it's been an effort. It's been in development, like I said, for over a year now, and we're really excited that anyone can play on any platform together.
I'm not sure who's best to answer this question, but can we talk about the new stasis weapons? Because we've had, I guess, a little taste of that with Salvation Script and Cryesthesia. I imagine it's kind of tough to balance the freezing and slow mechanics of those weapons, particularly in PvP. What's that like?
Yes, we have a suite of legendary stasis guns that are coming out with Season of the Lost, and it's pretty exciting. Actually, if you do one of our quests that drops today, you're guaranteed to get one of the new stasis hand cannons, which is pretty exciting, which is fun. And I mean, like, they're random rolls, so you also find them by just playing the game and playing Season 15 content, but we also try to inject, new loot in some interesting ways whenever we can get a chance. In terms of like PvP compared to PV balance, we do actually tune the game a little bit differently. So, you freezing a Guardian compared to you slowing or freezing a combatant, those are different time to kills ultimately. And so really what PvP is balanced around is kind of the fast time to kill that we expect from any of our sandbox weaponry. And we've also done a bunch of work to the stasis sandbox in general, so that being slowed by stasis in PvP is far less punitive than that you might have heard a few months ago if you haven't played before. So it's actually like pretty well balanced. Like the time to kill on the weapons are fast enough that you're not going to necessarily be using these guns to freeze people all the time, but people that have larger health pools, that have overshields, right, that if you're not landing those headshots, right, or those like critical shots as quickly, you will get some advantage of slowing those other Guardians down. I think what you're going to be finding with Season of the Lost is like there's kind of just a plethora of new builds that players can try out. And that's like one of the best parts about working on an action MMO that has like a deep RPG backbone, right? Is like, hey, as soon as we launch a new season, we have a bunch of assumptions about how all this tuning is go. But I'm sitting around waiting for those, YouTube videos, those blog posts, those Twitter threads, whatever they are, about people talking about the new weaponry and the new builds that they're crafting around them. So yeah, stay tuned, I guess I would say, to see the true answer to that question.
It must be a creative challenge to think of the stories of each weapon.
These weapons are really interesting for this season because they were actually heavily influenced by woodwind instruments. And so if you actually go look at some of the Season of the Lost weaponry, you'll kind of notice some almost like wood carvings or things on side of them. The weapons team and the audio team got really excited about this idea of leaning into a little bit into musical instrumentation and how that might feel.
One of the things that we kind of built out, a little bit of a world building thing that doesn't quite come to the forefront in the game, is that these weapons are meant to sort of offset the power of Sabathun's song. So the wielders have this weapon that is based in music, based in audio cues and patterns that's meant to sort of give them a protective bubble against Sabathun's song, I guess you could say. Something to look out for when anybody gets the shotgun. Just give it a listen in different situations. You might find some interesting work that went into how the shotgun sounds in different situations.
It's cool just to be able to hear that, and it's been so wonderful to be able to hear about all of the upcoming content, and I guess just knowing what you have in the pipeline for the game going forward is really, really exciting as a player and as a fan. I do have one really dumb question that I would love to ask you as a fan, and then 3 really dumb suggestions as well. So my dumb question is, indulge me, in the Deepstone Crypt raid, when you go out into space where presumably there is no gravity, how is it we are falling to our deaths all the time when we miss jumps? Because I miss jumps all the time, and it feels like I shouldn't have to be penalized for that.
My quick answer is that the amount of my quick answer is that the architects have a gravity well of hatred for people that fall off of jumping puzzles, and it sucks you right down into that spot, and that's how you die from fall damage.
Good.
Let's go with
good.
that.
I like it.
I think that is the right answer. Yeah. If it's canon or not, we can figure that out later.
Great. Okay, so here are some suggestions that I just came up with. These are free. You can have them, so you're welcome. I was thinking a crucible mode in which 2 teams of players have to deliver baby Elixir back to their mothers without dying, and the team who returns the highest number of babies at the end of the round wins.
I love it.
I like it.
Yeah. Great.
+1.
I look forward to seeing it. I look forward to seeing it in the game. I was thinking bring back every single raid with day 1 difficulty, and you put it in a playlist, and the teams that complete all of them within 24 hours get a special raid jacket that is a Technicolor Dreamcoat patchwork of all the other raid jackets.
I mean, I would love my Technicolor Dreamcoat of raid completion. So that sounds awesome. It's a good suggestion. Thank you.
My last suggestion would be to kind of rework the Guardian games to have one season where it's entirely cosmetic armor based, and we compete in fashion shows on the Prophecy Dungeon Ribbon Road, serving looks, and then players can vote with moats on whether hunters or warlocks are the most fashionable.
Whoa,
Oh, man.
whoa. As a Titan, I feel very left out of this.
Yeah, I mean it's hard to be capes and robes, right? I mean, I actually main a Titan, and I definitely look at capes and robes a lot of time. And I'm that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So.
Oh man, it's been so great to talk to you guys. Thank you so much for indulging us and for being on our show and speaking to all of the fans of Destiny. This as a content drop and an update to the game has been one of the most exciting that we've seen, and it's just thrilling to be part of this community and know what's coming from a game that has such a tremendous reach and has so much depth and lore, and obviously a lot of love put into it as well. So just thank you so much, guys. It's a great time to be a Destiny fan.
Thank you so much for having us. Really appreciate it. Yeah, and I just want to say, because I don't get to do this very often, hey Australia, hope y'all are doing well. I don't know. I hope that's not too corny.
No, I love it. It's awesome. Thank you so much.
Like yourself.
Hello.
So sweet. So sweet.
Very nice. Lovely, Steph.
Yeah, it was awesome to talk to them. They were so generous with their time, and it was great to kind of hear I think in particular, I find it so interesting to hear the kind of lore stuff that goes into the weapons, because because you pick up these weapons that all have really unique names, and if you actually go in to kind of read about the history of the gun or, why it has that name, it's really interesting. Like I was using a gun in the game, and I can't remember. I think somebody mentioned it in our fire team. They're like, "Oh, there's a little tiny bug in there," and I was like, "What?" They're like, "Yeah, if you look really closely, you can see a tiny bug in there." And that sounds like a troll, right? I was like, "Okay, haha." They're like, "No, seriously, because the history of the gun is blah blah blah, and there's like a bug that's trapped inside, and there was another gun that has like a tiny little army of robots that when you fire it, it like kind of they sort of run out and like." Kind of engulf the thing. It's
true because the lore is there, and the lore when those guys explain it, and this is no offense to you, it's like having to describe that lore to other people doesn't make as much sense as then when they like are these creators of it, and they're like, well, here's this like very fleshed out story, and then you're like, yes, but for me it just sounds like something very strange. Like, this is a flute. I'm firing a flute. Am I? And why? But it's like then when they describe it, they're like, it's it sort of repels the song of Zabathun, and you're like, oh, they're just like they are just.
But.
Well, I said, I keep slurring on that word, but
you hit a word in your mind where you were like, I don't know how to say that out loud. So you just
anthropomorphize.
Sabathun? I keep saying it wrong all the time.
Sabathun.
The thing that does. In there. Anyway, yes, but they think it through so well, and they make it so wonderful when they tell it. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's cool to have that level of detail, written into every aspect of the game.
Absolutely.
It's really cool.
Yeah.
There were, when I first started playing Destiny, I played a lot of Destiny 1, and then when I first started getting into Destiny 2, I didn't really care about the lore. I felt like I was coming in and it had already happened, and I was just like, I just want to play the best feeling shooter that's out. And so, and I was just loving the action. And even without realizing, I would just shrug off. Someone try to explain some lore to me, and I'm like, I don't really care. It's like, it's not what I'm interested in. But even in that stage where I was like, I'm not that interested, the fact that there's detail in everything, it makes the game feel so much fuller, more finished, more cohesive as an idea. It doesn't matter when I'm shooting things that there's a bug in the xenophage, but it just the gun has more meaning than just the damage output.
Yeah, than just big gun.
Yeah, it's like it becomes a thing. It becomes an idea that someone put into a thing with passion. So that's why all these little intricate details, the woodwind being a way to create a song to protect yourself from Savathun's own song is like...
It's pronounced Savathun. No, it's just the coolest thing. It creates meaning to every aspect of the world. And I think lore is one of those things that can be, as you said, shrugged off, or even just like, this isn't important. But it's still doing something on some level. If you're like an absolute diehard who wants to read and write and look and make 6-hour videos about it and pour over it, or people who just play it, but it is still seeping through in that sense. And I think that's actually like, it's why it's important and why these guys are very good at their job.
And the fact that, like, because of those little details, it's like Steph isn't just absolutely rubbish at landing a jump. She's been constantly sucked into a gravity well of hatred. And
Exactly. And now we know. And now we know.
And also now you know how to get the bug out of your gun. Just blow into it like a flute. Comes out the other end. You look good.
I think Bishop was saying that the cool thing about Xenophage is that the bug was a former guardian that refused to die.
Oh, wow. That's twisted.
To die.
I refuse to
inside
die.
the gun
I'll
now.
trap you in a gun. Oh, my God.
The John Wick of bugs.
I refuse to die. All right, I'm going to turn you into a bee. Speaking of the lore, as we head into Season of Lost, which obviously is available now, and which I'm going to boot up as soon as we're done here. The third Mylan musing for the evening.
Can we play the title? Should we play the intro card one more time?
Let's play the intro card.
I've forgotten what noise he makes.
What noise does he make? The third Mylan musing is the current story of the Season of Lost is providing more information to how throne worlds function, specifically their link with the hive worms. Currently, is trying to get rid of her hive worm. The hive worms provided an incredible power to the hive and immortality. However, they have to constantly feed their worm through killing and following their true nature. And Sabathun's nature is trickery. Savathun wants to get away from this bargain. And I do like the fact that her true nature is trickery. And she's like, I don't want to constantly be forced to be tricky. So I'm going to presumably be tricky and worm my way out of this bargain.
That's an excellent choice of words there.
And you're worming your way out of a bargain with a worm.
Thank you very much. And it is her true nature, so I guess she really has no choice. So Season of Lost stuff is happening right now. Some of the things that I noted through that presentation, it is a gravity well of hatred. We also are seeing this is the first chance for players to pick up non-exotic stasis weapons as well. So non-heavy stasis weapons will sit in the kinetic slot instead of the energy slot. And apparently, they're also going to have stasis perks that will allow Guardians to freeze and slow enemies as well, which sounds pretty cool.
Can you jump on them and shatter them by yelling "shatter enemy" every time you do after you freeze them?
It's shatter dive, Gus.
Shatter dive. Yeah, but you'd be shattering the enemy, so it has to have a different call. Otherwise, we wouldn't know what shatter dive you are yelling each time, Steph.
No, because the enemy gets trapped in the ice wall grenade.
Okay, so it's just a generic thing for anything you shatter, you yell that.
Shatter dive.
Yeah.
Shatter dive. Okay.
Shatter dive.
Correct.
Correct. Shatter tiny bug.
I'll show you a shatter dive when we all play Destiny together right after the stream.
It's a weird threat. There's also 2 new systems coming into play. There's crossplay and anti-cheat. The crossplay is a very big deal. Obviously, anti-cheat is a very big deal. No one should be cheating in any video game. But the crossplay is very cool. I know that there are lots of people in the Pocket community who are Destiny fans who have been siloed, alone, looking for their friends in the community. And they're like, no, I play on PC. The best platform because of ultra-wide, and everyone else is playing on PlayStation. It's like, oh, I wish I had ultra-wide too. It's like, well, you can't. You suck. You get to hang out with us. Well, now you do. So congratulations. We can fire teams.
We can tell you what's happening in your outer peripheral vision that you're not seeing. Exactly. They'll be on your left. They'll say there's no one there. You'll be like, turn more.
Totally. So this was not mentioned in the stream. This actually came out a couple of days ago, but I think I'm really excited about this. This is one of those tiny things. So I'm like, quality of life improvement. Mwah. A couple of days ago, Bungie announced that they will remove primary ammo bricks from the game.
Oh yeah.
Today's patch.
Yep.
So primary weapons will now have unlimited ammo. And I don't know if you guys have been in my situation where it's like you are so close to beating a boss, you're so close to something, and then you run out of you're basically out of everything. And it's like, just give me more primary weapon because it's going to just refresh for no reason anyway. You are going to give it to me for no reason anyway. Why can't you just no reason give it to me now instead of later?
It's so rare that I'm in a situation where I run out of primary ammo, but I love that they are kind of just removing those small instances where it is annoying. I feel like the last time I ran out of primary was when I was trying to do a raid exploit in the Vault of Glass, and we were trying to kill the boss by just pummeling ammo into him when he was in his kind of other portal realm, which is funny because he usually comes through into the main area, and it was almost like we went behind the curtain to where he was waiting backstage. And we're like, sorry to interrupt. And he just stands there and lets you kill him. Yeah. I'll probably patch that. I'll probably patch it.
So I think overall that was a pretty solid showing for an expansion reveal, and obviously also I feel like that was a pretty meaty expansion reveal for something that's coming out September, October, November, December, January, 6 months away. That's quite a bit of information, quite a lot to sort of break down and get excited about.
I realized there was a 0 in that date at the start when I went. It's it's coming out at 2222222, and I'm like, no, that's 2222. So there is a 0 of 2022, the second.
You only
the 22nd.
You only need to say the last 2 numbers for the year.
Yeah, I got too excited. But yeah, the 22nd of February next year.
let's go around the horn and just say the thing we're most excited about from tonight's stream, tonight's announcement. What are we looking forward to? Steph, do you want to start us off?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the new aspects for the other subclasses. I want to see how that changes the other subclasses. I'm excited that Void is going to be first, and I'm looking forward to completing the quest to make that happen.
I'm a lore sucker now. I
Look at you.
I love the idea of this Witch Queen expansion, and I love that tonight we can play season 15 and talk to Sabathune. This whole season is going to be ramping into. We're working with Sabathune right now. What's going to happen between now and February next year? I'm very excited to find out.
I can't wait for you to run past all the lore and not pay attention to it as it's being spoken.
And then I'll watch a Mylan video later to catch up.
Nice.
Angus, from a slightly more lapsed Destiny fan perspective,
Totally.
What about you?
Yeah, like jokes aside, I've got a lot of catch up to do, but this has been super exciting and really enticing seeing all the stuff that's there and all the stuff that I kind of am attached to and stuff that I'm like, I need to brush up on that as well. I know I've promised it in the past, but this is very cool. On an excitement level, two things. The Glaive as a weapon, I'm just like, oh my God, that just looks like I want to master that. That's something I want to get good at and just be like, this is my go-to kind of thing. And also just squeezing and popping a hive ghost. I think that looks satisfying.
Gross.
I want to do a lot of it. It's like those pimple popping YouTube channels. I'm just going to do that as much as I can.
Oh, no, why? Why would you
So
ruin
gross.
such a nice night?
I don't watch them. I know they exist. This is my version of that. That's what I'm saying.
Okay. My God. Okay. And for me, I mean, the Glaive for sure, but I'm excited about that weapon crafting system. I think that seeing what that is, the idea of being able to get some guns that I missed out on in the past is really tempting in a way where being able to put that together, like it's a different sort of earning it, I guess. And so I'm also curious to see what that system looks like in terms of like the roles and the perks and the way that you sort of can create that, how much customization you have over it, and the idea that they get more powerful over time, I think is a really cool idea. So yeah, I'm really interested to see how that goes. Also just trees.
Will you need to masterwork a weapon that you've already worked?
Exactly.
It should be mastered from the start.
From the very beginning. Unless it starts as an amateur and it kind of like, it doesn't fire bullets.
This is a journeyman.
That out yet?
This is a journeyman drang.
Totally.
Journeyman drang.
And again,
Maybe you will need to masterwork it, but you don't need ascendant shards to do it. It's like you never get enough ascendant
And again, not to harp on about it, but one will be you'll open that little that sort of press weapon thing, and they'll be like, "Sir, this is a flute," and you'll be like, "Yes."
So that brings us to the end of our Destiny stream. Now, I do have one more emblem code to give away, so if you want an emblem code, let me know in the chat. And I will say that I did see a lot of people say, Vexia deserves one because Vexia has guided so many of us into Destiny 2, and it's, shut up. I already gave Vexia my code, so I'm a hero, and I already gave him one. It's even multi-fishy. I would like you to give it to Vexia, please. Too nice.
So you're the hero, but I'm giving mine away as well, which is why we have another one, and I'm not getting any praise because I don't know how to equip one yet, and that's fine.
Yeah.
No.
Sorry, Vexia microphone seems to be cutting out right now, and the person who is going to get an emblem code is going to be Gus, you can pick.
Sure. Oh, look what you did there. Look what you did there. E Obi-Wan I saw in there. It was the letter E and then Obi-Wan as well, but it just shot past as I saw that. So congrats.
E Obi-Wan was so excited they just screamed, "I want emblem." I want emblem.
I want emblem.
Here, have emblem.
Have emblem. Enjoy emblem.
Enjoy emblem. Thank you very much, everyone, for hanging and hanging out with us during the Destiny live stream. This has been a ton of fun. So thank you for watching the back pocket Pocket and Destiny 2 Witch Queen ANZ Primetime Not Quite Live reaction party sponsored by Bungie. A very big thank you to Bungie for sponsoring the Back Pocket and Destiny 2 Witch Queen ANZ Primetime Not Quite Live reaction party sponsored by Bungie. If you want more long Back Pocket stream titles, then follow us on Twitch here where you're watching right now. And if you want to catch up on everything else we make, then it's all over at youtube.com/backpocket channel. And you can support us and unlock all the lovely rewards that we have for doing so by heading to patreon.com/backpocket. Thank you very much, Stephanie Bendixson, Peter Burns, Angus Ronald, and me for all of our incredible work today.
Shout out to my girl sabathune.
Terrible.
What a delight. What a fun stream.
That was
What a
Yeah.
fun stream.
Oh,
All
it's
right,
just, it's exciting to just fan out over anything, but in particular Destiny, because it's just such a cool universe.
And we'll see all of you guys in the new season of Destiny 2. Thanks very much for everyone for watching. Let's back.